Powerman Duathlon, coming from Zofingen in Switzerland. Zofingen, well, that's about 60 kilometers outside of Zurich. And this event has always attracted a world-class field, and this year it's no different. It all started here back in 1989 for the first Powerman Duathlon. In 1990 we had the European Championships over a much shorter distance. This is known as the toughest, the hardest and the richest duathlon in the world. Kenny Souza, Mark Allen just gone through. We haven't mentioned Mark Allen. Kind of Kenny Souza, the rock star image of duathlon. South African bike specialist, Delsberger, 51, the famous number 51. Won more Tour de France than anyone else, that number 51. They've given it to Mark Allen, and I suppose that's very fitting. He is the king of triathlons, won just about everything in the sport except Powerman. He's never won Powerman. In the last 12 months, he's won, I suppose, the two races which are synonymous with the sport. That's the Nice International Triathlon, and then the Hawaii Ironman, which he's won 5 times. Nice he's won 9 times, and in fact that's the next race in the International Triathlon Professional Tour series, the next race at Nice. So we'll be moving from Switzerland down to the Côte d'Azur on the Mediterranean for the Nice Triathlon. And Allen pacing it out. You can see it's pretty hard on the thigh muscles. They're going down these hills. They're very sharp and very painful. Imagine they've just built up all this lactic acid going up the hills, and now it's just painful, jarring all the way down. Well, it looks like Alan's having a word with Souza. I don't know what they're talking about. Well, Souza's laughing, saying, just pushed it too early. I mentioned, in fact, that you have to be very careful on this opening run. It is extremely hard on the body. And bearing in mind, this is a 6.5 hour, 7-hour race for many of them. 30 minutes is not long. And you do damage early on, and it's unlikely that you'll last the pace. But I'm sure Allen and Souza are pacing it. Obviously, Allen's trying to take some pace off Souza here as they go up the climb for the last time before they get on their bikes in these sticky conditions up in the split. Kenny Souza into the transition. You saw Michael Tobin there putting on his blue cycling jersey. Delsberger, Mark Allen. He's one of the fastest through the transition, and he certainly is today. How about that? Shoes off, pick up thy bike and go. Let's remember, he's got his cycling shoes already on the pedals, as you can see here from this typical Swiss cowbells. This is Mark Allen in the lead group of men. There are 4 of them who have got away early on. Greg Van Holt in the blue there. Michael Tobin right behind. From Mark Allen, though, up front, pushing it along. He's determined here to win, I suppose, the other major in the sport that has eluded him to date. He's pedaling quite easily, looks quite comfortable. Huh? I mentioned Kenny Souza, a previous winner. He won it back in 1990, should I say, going new to the sport of duathlon. To do better than that is Mark Allen on the left, and also Greg Welsh on the right. Mark Allen, the grip. He's certainly taken a grip on this race today. I'm sure he's looking to do a little better, though. Greg Van Holt, number 98, spinning the wheel, keeping the big gear going. See Michael Tobin on the left here with Mark Allen. Well, we're back with our lead group. Michael Tobin on the front, Mark Allen, Greg Welsh, and Greg Van Holt from South Africa making up the foursome up front. But someone in 5th place is Kenny Souza. He's been dropped, and I don't think there's much chance he's got of getting back on this this bike course, especially for this year's Powerman event.
I think just the fact knowing how tough this course is going into it will help a lot. Knowing the pacing, the style that the race is going to take, especially on the bike, and where it's going to be key to hold on to the other athletes. Last year, during the bike ride, there were some points on the climbs where I just couldn't hold on to the pace, and that's where the other athletes made their breaks.
And the red. This is Allen, though. He's on the descent.
On the downhills, it's just too fast to make up any time you lose on the hills. So this year, hopefully, if my knees and heart don't blow out of my body, I'll be able to keep up on the hills and then just keep an eye on the guys that I feel are a threat for the second run.
Runs is Mark Allen. He's a few minutes behind her, but he's coming back into the transition area. He's about a minute and a half up in front of Michael Tobin, who's in second place in the men's race. So Mark Allen coming back into the bike park for the last time. The 35-year-old out of Glendale, California, now lives in Cardiff, just up from San Diego. Spends his summer, though, up in Boulder, Colorado, with many of the other world-famous athletes, and now the triathletes and duathletes. So we saw he was first back in at a time of 3:54.07. That's, in fact, a record for this bike course, so he's really going some today. Perhaps he's out for the course record as well, which is currently held by another American, Scott Molina. He won here a couple of years ago in 1990, and his total time was 6 hours 20:24. And that's what Allen's trying to beat. Not only does he want to be the first person home today, but he wants the course record as well. And who can blame him? Just saw him put some sachets in the back of his trunks, his running trunks. Those are energy supplements which he'll take on the run course as he heads out onto this final 30 kilometers of running. Trying to repeat what he did in 1990 to win the Powerman. Limp back in. Being helped by Ernst Lindsay, one of the co-owners of Powerman. This is Mark Allen. She's over that climb. Being chased down by Mark Allen. He's the only one that can possibly catch her, I think, certainly before the turn. He looks pretty desperate. Get those by Mark Allen. He's the only one that can possibly catch her, I think, certainly before the turn. He looks pretty desperate. Get those fluids down. As I've mentioned earlier, it's very important, especially now. This is Jeff Devlin, another duathlon specialist. Seems to be struggling a bit, though. Finished third here back in 19 year. He's won now. Well, if he wins today, that is. He will have won 3 in the last 12 months. Third place behind Mark Allen. Mark Allen. I mentioned he's won everything in the sport. He did win the first ever world or official world championships, which were in France back in 1989 in Avignon. Since then, he's specialised more on the longer distance. And remember that. So. If she wins here, that'll make her happy, I'm sure. 51, Mark Allen. He's on his way home. He's looking for his third major, and he's going to get it, I'm sure. Of age. At the press conference, we said, had he done anything different to prepare himself for this race? He said, well, the only thing I have done is I've done a few more long bike rides with Kenny Souza, and for the first time ever, I've gone on the weights. He said, I read somewhere that after 32, you start to, your body starts to weaken. So I thought I'd do something about it, and I actually got on the weights this winter. Hasn't done him any harm, has it? 93. Look at the huge crowds here. Some are just going out on the run, you can see, and they're applauding him. They can appreciate this fantastic athletic feat of Mark Allen, the grip, the Zen master. Numerous titles he's got, but he's got another one now. Powerman 1993. $30,000 for winning and the bonus of $10,000 for being the first person across the line. That's $40,000 he picks up here today in Powerman, Switzerland. Congratulated by Ernst Lindsay, the man who thought up this course. And I'm sure a few of them wish he hadn't done. It's the toughest, the hardest, the richest in the sport. There we are, Mark. Take it. Take your applause from this huge gallery here at the finish. Isn't he happy? Well, we can see the announcer, or hear the announcer saying that's what he wanted. He really is pleased with himself. Our man of 1993.
It was very difficult, but I'm really excited. I came here knowing that I was in good shape, but I didn't know if it was enough to win. And I surprised myself, really, to be honest.